She threw me out on the street the day after my son's funeral, claiming the house was hers now. At the will reading, she laughed and said, "Hope you enjoy being homeless, old man." Then the lawyer opened that sealed envelope. If you're watching this, hit that subscribe button and let me know where you're from in the comments. Now, buckle up if you enjoy stories about karma catching up with people who think they're smarter than everyone else. My name is Richard Henderson. I'm 68 years old, and let me tell you how my daughter-in-law tried to throw away a Navy veteran like yesterday's garbage. Sometimes the best revenge is just letting people show you exactly who they really are. The call came at 3:17 a.m. on a Tuesday. Tim's voice was strained, desperate. "Dad, something's wrong with my chest. I can't breathe." The line went dead. By the time I got to the hospital, my 45-year-old son was gone. Massive heart attack. The doctor said, nothing they could do. Jennifer stood next to me in that sterile waiting room, and I caught something in her expression that didn't sit right. Relief. I told myself I was imagining things in my grief. What father wants to believe his daughter-in-law is calculating her next move while his son's body is still warm? "What happens now?" I whispered. Still trying to process that Tim, my healthy, hardworking boy, was simply gone. Jennifer straightened her shoulders. "Now we deal with reality, Rick. Tim's gone, and I have decisions to make that hit me like a slap. We'd never been close, Jen and I, but Tim had always been the bridge between us. Now that bridge was gone, and I was starting to understand just how deep that gap really was. Of course, we'll get through this together," I said, reaching for her hand. She pulled away. "We'll see about that." I should have recognized the warning in those words. Instead, I figured it was shock. People grieve differently, right? Some get emotional, others shut down. Jen was clearly the type to shut down. The funeral arrangements took 3 days. I offered to help pay for everything. Tim had been my only child after all, but Jennifer insisted on handling it herself. "I'm his wife," she kept saying. "I know what he would have wanted. Fair enough." I focused on writing his eulogy and calling relatives, trying to hold myself together. At 68, I'd buried my parents and my wife Carol 4 years ago. But losing a child feels like a special kind of hell that no military training prepares you for. The night before the funeral, sitting in what had been Tim's childhood bedroom, I noticed something strange. All the photos on the dresser showed Tim graduating college, Tim and Jen's wedding, Tim with his nephew at Christmas, but not one recent photo of Tim and me. Jen had systematically removed them. When had that happened? A knock interrupted my thoughts. Jen stood in the doorway, no longer bothering to hide that calculating look. "We need to talk, Rick." The funeral was beautiful, I'll give her that. The flowers were elegant. The music was Tim's favorite hymns, and the reception was perfectly organized. What wasn't beautiful was watching my daughter-in-law play the grieving widow while making comments about moving forward in new chapters. I was accepting condolences when I overheard Jen talking to her sister behind the flower arrangements. "The life insurance alone covers the mortgage for 2 years," she was saying quietly. "And without the extra expenses." "Extra expenses?" her sister asked. "What about Rick? Where will he go?" Jen's laugh was sharp. "That's not my problem anymore. He can figure it out like the rest of us adults." My blood went cold. I'd been living with them for 2 years, ever since Carol died, and I sold our house to help with their down payment. Tim had insisted it would be temporary, just until I found something smaller. Somehow temporary had become permanent, and I'd gotten comfortable helping around the house, cooking dinner, being useful. Apparently I'd been naive. "Rick." Jen appeared at my elbow, her public face in place. "Could you help me in the kitchen? We need to discuss some things." I followed her through the crowd of mourners. In the kitchen, she closed the door and turned to face me. "I'm going to be direct," she said, her voice calm and businesslike. "This house is in Tim's name, which means it's mine now. I need time and space to process my grief without complications." "Complications? You living here?" "It's not working anymore, Rick. I need my privacy." That hit me like a punch to the gut. "Jen, I understand you're grieving, but surely we can work something out." "No." She held up a hand. "I've made my decision. I'll give you until tomorrow evening to pack your things. That should be plenty of time." I stared at her, searching for any trace of the woman who used to call me Dad, who cried when Tim proposed. That woman was gone, replaced by someone cold and calculating. "Where exactly do you expect me to go?" Jen shrugged. "You're a grown man, Rick. You'll figure something out." That was pretty cold. Tim would be horrified by this conversation. "Tim's dead," she said flatly. "And the sooner you accept that, the better off we'll both be." I packed my life into 4 suitcases and 2 boxes. 68 years reduced to what would fit in my truck. As I folded my navy dress blues and wrapped my few remaining photos, I kept waiting for Jen to come upstairs and apologize, to say she'd spoken in grief, and of course I could stay until I found somewhere else. She never came at exactly 6 p.m. the next day. She appeared in my doorway with her arms crossed. "Time's up, Rick." I zipped the last suitcase and looked around the room that had been my home for 2 years. The walls were bare now, stripped of the few personal touches I'd been allowed. It looked like a guest room again, which I guess it always had been. I'll need a few minutes to get everything to the truck. I'll help you. It wasn't an offer. It was a statement. We made 3 trips in silence. As I loaded the last box, I turned to say goodbye, maybe to make one final appeal. I know you're angry with me for some reason, I said quietly. I wish I knew what I'd done wrong. Jen's expression didn't soften. You didn't do anything wrong, Rick. You just exist in my space, in my life, in my way. Tim felt sorry for you, but I don't. The honesty was brutal and somehow cleaner than the polite fiction we'd been maintaining. I see. I got into my truck and rolled down the window. Will there be a formal reading of Tim's will? I assume he left instructions. Why would he leave you anything? Jen's voice was genuinely puzzled. You're not his wife, and it's not like you contributed financially. That was pretty ironic. The $40,000 I'd given them for the down payment might disagree. But clearly Jen had convinced herself it was a gift, of course. Silly of me to assume. I drove away heading toward the Hampton Inn on Route 9, the closest place I could afford while figuring out what came next. In my rearview mirror, I watched Jen stand in the driveway until my truck disappeared around the corner. At the hotel, I checked in for a week and carried my suitcases to a generic room that smelled like cleaning products and broken dreams. I sat on the polyester bedspread and stared at myself in the mirror. Who was this man looking back at me? A Navy veteran, a widower, now childless and homeless, apparently worthless in the eyes of the only family he had left. But as I sat there, something started building up inside me. Not despair, though that was there too. Something sharper, something that felt like anticipation. Jen thought she'd won. She thought she'd successfully discarded the inconvenient father-in-law and claimed her prize. What she didn't know was that Tim had been a much better son than she'd ever given him credit for. 2 weeks into my hotel stay, just as I was seriously worried about my savings, the call came from Tim's lawyer. Mr. Henderson, this is Charlie Davis from Davis & Associates. I handled your son's legal affairs. Yes, Mr. Davis, I remember you from the house closing. I'm calling to inform you that the probate process is complete, and there will be a formal reading of Tim's will next Tuesday at 2 p.m. in my office. Your presence is required. My presence was required. I sat up straighter. I'm sorry, but I think there might be some confusion. Jennifer seemed to think. Mr. Henderson Davis interrupted gently. I can only tell you what Tim's will specifies, and it specifically names you as a beneficiary. I'll see you Tuesday at 2 p.m. After he hung up, I stared at my phone. Tim had left me something after all. Probably some keepsake, maybe his grandfather's watch or photo albums from his childhood. Jen wouldn't be happy about it, but she'd have to live with whatever Tim had decided. At 1:45 p.m. that Tuesday, I sat in the parking lot of Davis & Associates, watching Jen emerge from a silver BMW wearing a black dress that probably cost more than my monthly budget. She'd brought someone with her, a man in an expensive suit who kept checking his phone. When I walked into the reception area, Jen's face darkened. What is he doing here? She demanded. Mr. Henderson is here for the will reading, the receptionist replied professionally, which Mr. Henderson. Jen's voice rose. Both of you, apparently. The man in the suit, who I recognized as Jen's brother Tony, whispered something in her ear. She nodded and took a seat across from me, making it clear that whatever temporary civility might have existed was officially over. Charlie Davis appeared promptly at 2 p.m. and ushered us into his office. He was a kind-faced man in his 60s with silver hair and gentle eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Ladies and gentlemen, he began, settling behind his desk. I know this is difficult, but Tim was very specific about his wishes. I'll read the will in its entirety, then we can discuss any questions. Jen sat forward eagerly. Tony had pulled out a legal pad, preparing to take notes. I simply folded my hands and waited. The first part was exactly what I'd expected. Jen inherited the house, the cars, Tim's retirement accounts, and his life insurance policy. She nodded approvingly at each item, occasionally glancing at me with satisfaction. Then Davis's voice changed slightly, and I knew we were approaching something important. There is, however, one final provision that Tim added just 3 months ago. The atmosphere shifted. Jen stopped nodding and leaned forward, her eyes sharp with sudden attention. Tony put down his pen. Davis cleared his throat. To my father, Richard Henderson, who provided the down payment for our home and has never asked for repayment, I leave the contents of Safety Deposit Box 35037 at First National Bank, along with all associated documentation and account information contained therein. What safety deposit box? Jen's voice was sharp. Tim never mentioned a safety deposit box. Apparently it was something he maintained privately, Davis replied. He was quite specific that the contents should go to his father. I was as surprised as Jen, but for different reasons. Tim had never mentioned a safety deposit box to me either. "What's in it?" Tony asked. "I have no idea," Davis replied honestly. Tim simply provided the bank information and instructions that Mr. Henderson should have full access upon his death. Jen's face flushed with anger. "This is ridiculous. If there's anything of value in that box, it should be part of the estate. You're free to try contesting it," Davis said mildly. "But the provision is very clear, and Tim was completely competent when he added it. I witnessed the document myself." "When exactly did he add this?" I asked quietly. Davis consulted his notes 3 months ago, February 15th. He came in specifically to make this addition, February 15th. I remembered that date because it was the day after Valentine's Day, and Tim had seemed unusually quiet during our family dinner. Jen had been complaining about something, the neighbor's dog, I think, and Tim had barely spoken throughout the meal. "This is a waste of time," Jen snapped, standing abruptly. "Tony, let's go. We'll file a challenge tomorrow." "Actually," Davis said, pulling out another document, "before you leave, I need to inform you both that Tim left specific instructions regarding the safety deposit box contents. Mr. Henderson, he wanted you to access it within the next few days. He handed me a sealed envelope. These are the bank documents and his personal key. The bank will need to verify the death certificate and process paperwork. Usually takes about 3 business days." Jen's eyes fixed on the envelope like a hawk watching prey. "I'm coming with you to the bank. I'm afraid that's not possible," Davis interjected. "The access is restricted to Mr. Henderson only." "Bank policy. This is insane," Jen sputtered. "How do we even know there's anything valuable in there?" I stood up, clutching the envelope. "I guess we'll find out next week." 3 business days later, after providing the death certificate and completing the bank's paperwork, I finally stood before safety deposit box 30537 at First National Bank. The bank manager, Sue Taylor, had been briefed about the situation and offered her condolences. "Box 3537 is one of our larger units," she explained as we walked through the security doors. "Your son rented it about 5 years ago and visited quite regularly." 5 years. Tim had been planning something for 5 years. Sue used her master key while I inserted Tim's key, and the box slid out smoothly. It was large, about the size of a briefcase, and surprisingly heavy. "Take all the time you need," Sue said. "I'll be at my desk when you're finished." Alone in the small viewing room, I lifted the lid. The first thing I saw was a letter addressed to me in Tim's handwriting. My hands shook as I opened it. "Dad," it began, "if you're reading this, then I'm gone. And Jen has probably shown you exactly who she really is. I'm sorry for that, but I'm not surprised. I've known for years what kind of person I married, and I've been preparing for this." My heart raced as I continued reading. "You gave us $40,000 for our house down payment. I know you thought of it as a loan, even though you never asked for repayment. I've been investing that money for the past 5 years, adding to it whenever possible. The money in these accounts isn't just repayment. It's what careful investing has grown into." I set the letter down with shaking hands and looked at the documents underneath. Bank statements, investment portfolios, account numbers. My eyes scanned the balances, $95,000 in various investment accounts, all in my name. I picked up Tim's letter again. I also discovered that Jen has been telling people you contribute nothing to our household. What she doesn't mention is that our mortgage has been automatically paid from my salary account the entire time you've lived with us. Any money you've given us went straight into investments for your future. The letter continued, "I've been documenting everything, Dad. Every email, every text, every comment she's made about you. It's all in the folder labeled documentation. I thought you should know what kind of person has been living in our house." My vision blurred as I reached for that folder. Inside were printed emails, text, screenshots, even credit card statements. Years of manipulation and deceit, all carefully documented. The final paragraph made my eyes fill with tears. "You deserve better than the way she's treated you. Take this money and build yourself a life where no one can make you feel unwanted again. And Dad, don't tell Jen about any of this until you're safely away from her. Trust me on this one. All my love, Tim." I sat in that room for nearly an hour, reading through everything Tim had left me. By the time I emerged, I had a clear picture of exactly how my daughter-in-law had been playing us both. Sue helped me transfer all the documents to a large envelope and explained the process for accessing the investment accounts. As I walked to my truck, my phone rang. "Rick," Jen's voice was falsely sweet. "I was wondering if you'd like to come by for lunch today. We could discuss what you found in that safety deposit box." I smiled at my reflection in the truck window. "That's generous of you, Jen. I'll be there at noon." It was time for Jennifer to learn that sometimes the people you underestimate are the ones who surprise you most. I arrived at Jen's house at exactly noon, carrying a small gift bag and wearing my best poker face. She answered the door in a flowing white dress, all smiles and fake warmth. "Rick, I'm so glad you came. I made chicken salad sandwiches." The dining room table was set with wedding china and fresh flowers. Jen had put real effort into this performance. So she said, settling into her chair, I've been thinking about yesterday, about that safety deposit box. Have you? I know we've had our differences, but Tim would want us to support each other. Family should stick together. Family. That was rich, coming from the woman who'd thrown me out the day after her husband's funeral. I couldn't agree more, I said evenly. Her eyes lit up. I'm so relieved. I was worried you might be angry about having to find your own place so quickly. Of course. Grief affects everyone differently. Exactly. So about what Tim left you, I was thinking we could pool our resources, combine whatever was in that box with the life insurance. I have some wonderful financial advisors. That's thoughtful, but I'm curious. What makes you think there was anything valuable in there? She paused. Well, Tim was always so private about financial matters. He must have had a reason for keeping something separate. Private, interesting choice of words. You know what I mean? Men and their planning. I set down my sandwich and looked directly at her. Actually, Jen, I think Tim told you exactly as much as he thought you needed to know. Something flickered in her eyes. What did you find in the box, Rick? I reached for the gift bag. I brought you something. A little thank you gift. She unwrapped it eagerly, revealing a framed photo of Tim from his college graduation. Oh, Rick, this is lovely. I thought you should have it. After all, you were such a devoted wife. She looked up sharply. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing at all. Just appreciating how well you took care of my son. Her demeanor shifted. Rick, you're being cryptic. Just tell me what was in the box. Documents mostly. Very interesting reading material. What kind of documents? Financial records, investment statements, correspondence. I paused meaningfully. Quite a few printed emails and text messages. The color drained from her face. Tim was quite thorough in his record keeping. I pulled out my phone and opened the photos Tim had taken of various conversations. Would you like to see one? This is from about 6 months ago. I turned the screen toward her, showing a text to her sister. God, I can't wait until that old man finally moves out. Then we can turn his room into the home gym I've been wanting. Jen lunged for my phone, but I pulled it back. There are dozens more. Tim was apparently very good at documentation. Stop. And then there's the email where you're laughing with your sister about how gullible I am. I set the phone down. By the way, planning my eviction while Tim was still alive? That was forward thinking. Her composure cracked completely. He had no right to save private messages. Actually, he had every right. It was his house, and you were discussing his father. I leaned back. The question is, what are we going to do about this? What do you want? I don't want anything from you, Jen. I never did. Then why are you doing this? You threw me out of my home the day after my son's funeral. You told me Tim felt sorry for me, that I'd contributed nothing. I stood up slowly, but here's what you didn't understand about Tim. He saw everything. Jen gripped the table edge, knuckles white. Every cruel comment, every manipulation, every lie. He documented all of it, not to hurt you, but to protect me. You can't prove any of this would hold up in court. Court? I laughed. Sweetheart, I'm not taking you to court. You're not. Why would I? You've already given me everything I need. I pulled out Tim's folder and placed it on the table. Tim left me more than just text screenshots, Jen. She stared at the folder like it might bite her. Bank statements showing the house payments were automatically deducted from Tim's salary the entire time I lived here. Email chains between you and Tony discussing the Rick situation. Credit card statements showing luxury purchases on the same days you told Tim we couldn't afford groceries. Her breathing became shallow. You want to know what I found most interesting? This email thread where you and Tony discuss having me declared incompetent so you could access my pension. You never followed through. Know why? Because Tim figured out what you were planning, what steps. I smiled pleasantly. That's interesting, because according to these investment statements, I have quite a bit worth protecting. That's impossible. You're living in a hotel. I'm living in a hotel by choice while I figure out my next move, not because I can't afford better. How much? She whispered. That's none of your business. I'm his wife. I have a right to know. You had a right to know what your husband left you. The house, cars, life insurance, retirement accounts. You made out very well. Jen shot to her feet. You manipulative old fool. How exactly would I be stealing anything? Everything I have was given to me by my son. He was my husband. Yes, he was. And apparently he knew exactly what kind of wife you were. Jen stared at me, then switched tactics. Rick, please, let's be reasonable. I know I've been difficult since Tim died. I was grieving, but we're family. Family. Yes, you mentioned that. Right after you told me Tim felt sorry for me. I didn't mean that. I was upset. Oh, but you did mean it. That's what makes Tim's documentation so valuable. What do you want from me? An apology? Fine. I'm sorry. There's nothing to discuss. If Tim left you significant money, we need to plan how to manage it responsibly. You mean help me spend it properly. I picked up my jacket. Jen, let me be clear. The money Tim left me isn't an inheritance that fell into my lap. It's the return on the $40,000 I gave you for the house, plus 5 years of investment. Her mouth fell open. $40,000. Did you think it was a gift? Tim said it was a family contribution. Tim was preserving both our pride, but he never forgot it was a loan. I pulled out my phone and opened the banking app. $95,000. Jen grabbed the table to steady herself. That's half as much as the life insurance. Yes, it is. That money should be split between us, should it? Based on what? I'm his wife, and you're just his father. That hit me, but instead of pain, I felt clarity. You're right, Jen. I'm just his father. The man who raised him, supported him, and lent him the down payment for the house where you threw me out like garbage. I headed for the door, and apparently that was enough for Tim to make sure I'd never have to depend on anyone's charity again. Wait, Rick, we can work this out. I paused in the doorway. What exactly do you think we need to work out? I pulled out one more document. Tim also documented your spending habits, including the $15,000 you charged to credit cards in the month before he died. Her face went ashen. Spa treatments, designer clothes, a weekend in New York, all while telling Tim you were worried about money for groceries. Jen collapsed into her chair, the fight going out of her. You don't understand the pressure I was under. What pressure? Everyone expected me to be perfect. Tim's colleagues, the neighbors, my family. I looked at her sitting there in her designer dress, in her beautiful house complaining about appearances. No, Jen, I don't, because I was too busy actually taking care of your husband while you were spending his money. She was crying now, ugly tears that smeared her makeup. I can't lose everything. You're not losing everything. You inherited a $500,000 house, $200,000 life insurance, and retirement accounts. You're set for life if you manage it properly, but it's not enough for the life I planned. Then maybe you planned the wrong life. I walked to the door. Behind me, Jen slumped in her chair, face gray, breathing shallow, complete defeat. The moment when someone realizes they've lost everything they thought they were entitled to. I can't, she whispered. I can't lose everything. You're not losing everything, Jen. You're losing things that never belonged to you in the first place. I left her there in her expensive dining room and walked out into the sunshine of my new beginning. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. Sometimes it's justice served exactly when it's needed most. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, it comes with a hefty bank balance and the knowledge that the child you raised turned out to be exactly the man you hoped he'd become. Tim had taken care of me after all, just like he'd promised he always would. Even from beyond the grave, my son had kept his word. And that more than any amount of money was the greatest gift he could have given me. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share your story in the comments below. You know what I learned. Document everything, trust your instincts, and never underestimate an old soldier who's been through real battles, because we know the difference between people worth fighting for and people who aren't worth the ammunition. Here's the thing about respect. You can't demand it, you can't buy it, and you sure can't fake it forever. But when you've earned it honestly through years of service and sacrifice, it has a way of protecting you even when you think you're all alone.